I told you earlier that a news conference was about to begin with Monroe County health officials. That is happening right now, so we're going to listen in.
Today, as you know, was a very eventful day. We now have a total of, last count, 11 positives in New York State. We had a number this morning, all related to the individual that we found second earlier this week. Currently in Monroe County, we have no confirmed cases, but we do have an individual for whom we have ordered testing. This is an individual who is at Rochester General Hospital at this time. This person has been under appropriate isolation the entire time we were in consultation with the leadership, clinical leadership at the RGH hospital, and we should know more about the results of that test within 48 hours. Also notable today is that there was an expansion in the criteria for testing. So previous till today, the testing criteria for a person under investigation or PUI involved a combination of clinical factors and travel-related factors. That guidance has been broadened as of this afternoon, really to include anybody with symptoms that the clinician feels would be appropriate to have coronavirus testing. So that is at the clinical judgment of the person who is evaluating that person. That clinician would be factoring in local epidemiology, so the prevalence here in Monroe County, which currently we believe to be very low, the nature of that person's illness, any relevant travel history either from any of the 5 countries across the world or even now domestic, because we now know that there is domestic transmission, and obviously any other contact. So if this person's a healthcare worker, we would have a lower threshold, of course, for testing that individual because of the work-related risks. So again, we believe that the incubation period is 14 days. So my advice to any traveler is if you're coming from an area where we know there to be community transmission, you want to be watching for symptoms of fever, cough, and shortness of breath for that 14-day incubation period. If you work in a healthcare setting, please notify your supervisor, because we want to make sure that somebody is aware that you are returning to work, or in most cases, you may be asked to stay home from work as a voluntary precaution. Now, that would be for healthcare workers. For other employees, we ask that you contact your employer to evaluate your risk more on a case-by-case basis. I want to reiterate, today has been
That is Dr. Mendoza, the Monroe County Health Commissioner, updating us on the local situation regarding the COVID-19 coronavirus. And there are 2 important notes that he gave out. One is that even though we do not have a confirmed case of COVID-19 locally, there is someone who has been put in isolation at Rochester General. That person has been tested. We should know the results in about 48 hours. Also, they have lowered the threshold for testing. So now those who have certain symptoms will be tested when in the past they wouldn't.